Hi, everyone. This is Matt from MrpTechReviews.com and the MrpTech podcast over at the Podnuts Tech Podcast Network. This video is the third video in a series of videos that I am putting out to test a live stream here and sort of get my settings right. So far I've done a Linux Mint review. I have also done a review on all of my favorite podcasts over the last few weeks. And this is sort of an experiment to just make sure everything is working right, making small incremental changes every single week. If you notice, when I first started out here today, we've got a new logo. What I'm working on is learning how to get backgrounds that are labeled free for reuse. And I'm trying to make sure that everything I use here is something that I can legally use as a broadcaster on YouTube. So all of these labeled free for reuse type images that I'm using, I'm finding online and using advanced Google searching to find videos and images that are labeled free for reuse, which is something that I'll probably do in a tutorial when it comes to the Google Apps for Education tutorial series that I do on my YouTube channel. A couple of things that I want to just talk about today before the weekend, a couple of fun little items here for you. The first thing, if you're interested in drones, I personally don't have a drone myself, but I do know a few people out there that really enjoy using drones, and something that I might get into in the future. For me personally, I live in a very beautiful area, and a friend of mine has recently gotten really into using drones. And I want to sort of plug his Facebook page here really quickly. And the name of his Facebook page is High Peaks Drone Adventures. And if you are into drones at all, seriously encourage you to check out this page. Some really beautiful shots of upstate New York and Vermont. He's using the Phantom 4 drone, which records in 4K. So all of his videos are really great and quite stunning when it comes to some of the scenery that you will see. I'll play a video here really quickly of some of the things that you're going to see. This is a shot from some mountains and a lake that's in the middle of the mountains here, and I'm not sure exactly why I'm getting some flashing, but you see some really stunning shots. So again, taken from a Phantom 4, and I believe he bought it from DJI.com. And if you scroll through, you'll notice that he has a couple of videos of an old mine shaft from up above. And really, he wants to get and improve over the next few months. He's going to be traveling around upstate New York and Vermont, really taking more stunning images from all around. Really would recommend, there's a shot of the Phantom 4 right there. Really recommend checking out his Facebook page, High Peaks Drone Adventures, and checking out some of the beautiful scenery that he has in that case. I spoke with him off and on a little bit about these drones, and really was trying to just see if it was something that he would be interested in talking about in the future. He gave me a list of things that he got him started, a couple of Facebook pages that mentioned beginner drone use. I may mention that in a future episode of the podcast. But again, just for those who are interested in drones and learning more about drones, and maybe just watching drone footage, definitely a page to check out, High Peaks Drone Adventures. Okay, something I'm working on over the next couple of days in the next podcast release is I've been starting to read the book on Amazon called The Everything Store. It's Jeff Bezos and the Age of Amazon. And I'm really curious as to what my listeners out there, what your thoughts are on Amazon as a company. Do you think they are similar to Apple and Microsoft and Google? Do you think they're evil companies? Do you think Amazon's evil? Do you think they are a great company that really keeps their customers in mind. I go in depth in a little bit in this next podcast release, which should be coming out Monday. It'll be episode 48 of the MrpTech podcast, discussing some of the thoughts that I have on Amazon. And I'm curious what all of you guys think out there as far as your thoughts. I know a lot of people are subscribers of Amazon Prime, and there's a lot of ups and downs as far as the company itself is concerned. With concerns with their financial status, concerns with their approach to how they treat their employees, and definitely, I haven't formed an opinion yet on Amazon. I have got a lot of opinions on a lot of other companies, and I'm still sort of weighing the pros and cons here of what I think they do and what I think that they provide, and would really like to see some feedback from the audience on what they think about Amazon. They're a huge company now. Obviously, they own audiobooks, they have ebooks, and sell everything, offering online video streaming, etc. And if you want to just go over to MrpTechReviews.com, hit the contact form, and just let me know what you think of Amazon. I'd be really curious to find out what it is that you think, and let me know. I'd be really interested in seeing what all the listeners out there think of these companies. A lot of people really hate Google for the amount of data collection that they have. And in some ways this is for customer service, but at the same time, Amazon does these things when you shop on Amazon. And Apple, when you relate it to Apple, they again pay their employees very low in the factories in China to create iPhones and iPads. And I relate that all this week in the coming podcast episode. So let me know what you think. One of the things that I wanted to discuss this week is I wanted to do something that I've never done really before, and decided to experiment with it on the live stream this week. And one of the things that I've never really done is taken a look at beta software before. And I read just recently that Ubuntu 17.04 has recently gone into a feature freeze set before their beta is released. So this is the very first feature freeze before the release coming up in April. And so some of these things that we're going to talk about today, I'm not expecting anything great out of trying Ubuntu 17.04, but one of the things that I was really curious about was Unity 8 and the Unity 8 preview. I was very curious about how far it's come in just a few months. I'm not expecting great leaps and bounds at this point before we jump in and try it in just a minute. But also, things like Unity and Ubuntu itself becoming a Snap package itself in the future. So I'm really curious about that. And let's take a look. I have Ubuntu installed in a virtual machine right here. And one of the things that I noticed right away was that you cannot select Unity 8 from the login screen, which was kind of disappointing. I'm sure that I probably could download what I need to get Unity 8 running in Ubuntu 17.04. This is Ubuntu 17.04 Alpha 1. This is right after the feature freeze, and so basically will be the same thing as the beta. And there's not a whole lot installed right here. It does look quite different from the last time that I've used Ubuntu. Not a whole lot as far as applications are concerned installed at this point in time. This is from the daily build. As I'm looking at this, Ubuntu has looked the same for years now. And some of the way, especially up here in the upper right-hand corner, it just looks really outdated to me. It really hasn't, the theming to me just needs some work. It needs some polish. And last week I talked about things like Linux Mint really, and especially Solus. I talked about Solus too, just really nailing it as far as the look and feel. This to me, if I'm using it, it used to look modern, but now it's really dated and really just needs some work. However, when it comes to the wallpapers. I think I may have said something about the wallpapers in Ubuntu in the past, not really enjoying some of the wallpapers. It looks like they really are stepping it up quite a bit as far as the quality of the photos. I know in the past they've done sort of contests to show um, and to have the wallpapers picked by these contest winners. But really, this particular set of background images right now, really quite stunning and really quite beautiful. So there's an improvement there that I sort of really enjoy. At this point in time, though, I haven't spent a whole lot of time experimenting with Ubuntu 17.04. Again, this is very beta, and I really was wanting to try Unity 8, and I was sort of really disappointed just before we went live to find that Unity 8 was not installed. Um, but Ubuntu is a project that I find interesting when it comes to um, teaching students about Linux and teaching students that they have alternatives other than Windows, and most students are unaware of this, and really it becomes something that I think is important to us as teachers to really get students to try to use Ubuntu, especially now that Unity 8 is coming out within the next 10 years. Unity 8 is going to have a lot of new features. Unity 8 is going to become a snap. It is going to be something that in the future, you're going to have full window management. That replaces basically replicating the Unity 7 experience so that your apps and windows and dialogues and menus, they all will make use of this sort of abstraction layer called, I think it's Miral, Miral. And they want to have Unity 8 interact more in touch environments and in non-touch environments. So whether you're using a touchscreen laptop or you are using point and click devices on your normal computer and monitor, they want to make it look great all around. The other thing that they want to do is they're introducing a new application drawer in Unity 8. And this replaces scopes from before. I never was a big fan of scopes. And so I'm interested in where they go from here, and what they have to offer. And maybe that's why this looks different, the whole heads-up display and the dash up here. And maybe that's what they're working towards is those application drawer changes. And also up and coming in Ubuntu 17.04, what they want to do is introduce multi-monitor support so that you can use more than one display. And that would be extremely useful for me. And hopefully in the future, that becomes a little bit more reliable than it is right now. At the same time, I believe by 18.04, the LTS, what they want is an all-snap release. And basically, so Unity 8 and Ubuntu is all in a snap package and can be easily installed. So I'm looking forward to some of these things coming up here in the next few months, and I always get excited about Ubuntu releases, even though I'm a little bit critical as far as the way it's looking right now. We're not going to expect much change when it comes to theming, I think, but all the stuff under the hood, there's big changes coming down the line, and I'm going to follow that closely and see if that's something that I might want to go back to if it improves. Unity 8, the last time I looked at it, was very rough, and that was to be expected. I believe I looked at it maybe back in September, October, and it was still quite rough, but change can be a good thing, and I hope that they pull it together and really get Unity 8 polished and looking good, especially for touchscreen environments. In the past, when I've tried Ubuntu on touchscreen devices, it never really seemed to work good. There was times that would work and times when it wouldn't work. So hopefully Unity 8 sort of irons out all those small details. I say small details, yeah, like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to developing a touchscreen interface. But so I'm going to follow this in the future, and I really am curious exactly to what the final product is going to look like. I normally don't take a look at beta software, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a look at 17.04. One thing I did find interesting is they said that it was going to be released with the 4.8 Linux kernel. And going back here, just taking a quick look here. Let me pull up a terminal, and they're actually using 4.9, which was I found interesting. Not really sure why that is the case. They made the choice to move up a notch as far as the kernel goes. So they were going to use the same kernel as 16.10 as far as what I read, but they're more current already. So that is something that I found sort of different and exciting when it came to using all of these different new features in Ubuntu, and that just means more hardware compatibility, and that's sort of exciting to me. So you can upgrade from 16.10 to the daily builds. I wouldn't recommend it at this point in time. You know, there are a lot of things that are changing rapidly, but when it comes to Ubuntu, I follow it closely. I don't have Ubuntu running on any machines currently, although you know that changes quite rapidly from time to time. When I feel I need to get a quick machine up and running quickly, Ubuntu is usually what I go to. That's what I use to recommend students and things like that. But so I'm curious again. What your thoughts are on Ubuntu as far as the up and coming 17.04 release. As I moved through these topics today, one of the things that I want to start doing is I want to start with my YouTube channel. I want to start a couple of different things. If you haven't been following the YouTube channel, as I mentioned earlier, I'm producing basically a weekly video on Google Apps for Education. You'll see my podcasts after they're released. I release them on YouTube, usually within a day or two after they're released over at Podnuts. After that, what I normally do is sometimes I'll do tech reviews and etc. on my channel. And the big thing here that I am sort of working on is some sort of live stream show at some point, maybe once a week, maybe on Fridays, just to get on and talk about some topics that I'm interested in, maybe something that I forgot to add in the audio podcast. And there will not be a video stream next week. I won't be in my office, so I won't be able to stream on YouTube, but keep in mind for the future, for these live stream shows. As always, you can go over to MrpTechReviews.com. You can send me feedback there for ideas that you want to do in the shows. And also, please check out the podcast over at podnuts.com and take a look at the MRP Tech podcast. That's going to do it for the live stream today. Thanks for watching. I am going to now go off air, and I hope you enjoyed it. And let me know what I can do to improve. As I mentioned, I'm working on these free to reuse backgrounds, and I'm trying to improve these things week after week. I thought this one was kind of funny. I don't think I'll stick with this one, but so I'm trying to keep everything looking good and looking professional, and I'm improving little bit by little bit. And hopefully, after I get done experimenting like I've been doing in this the last 3 weeks here, we'll have a live stream show maybe once a week on Fridays or something like that, if my schedule allows. So thanks so much for watching today, and we'll see you next time.